All right, I think that's absolute god awful garbage.
Wait a minute.
But
So you saying
Smooth
That,
that's
seems
bad
like
advice?
terrible
that's
advice.
Good advice. Bad advice.
One of the reasons arguing is actually good for your relationship. Number one, it helps you grow and understand your partner. Their true sides come out in an argument, and that will hopefully bring you closer together or closer to understanding them. Number two, it's way better than being passive aggressive about how you feel and expecting your partner to just pick up on it or know before you even say it. It's vocalizing things, which is healthy. Number three, you can't be with somebody and never have a disagreement. Then what are you? What kind of person are you? Are you too codependent that you're just going along with everything they say? Number four, it allows you to be vulnerable, which is such an important tool for our relationship is vulnerability. And that really is the key to a long lasting relationship.
All right, I think that's absolute god awful garbage.
wait a minute.
But
So you saying
Smooth
That,
that's
seems
bad
like
advice?
terrible
that's
advice.
I
It's
have a
Oh,
question
okay.
garbage.
real quick.
But Smooth, go ahead and jump in. Tell me, what do you think? You
Yeah.
think that's good
So,
advice or bad advice?
I think that's tremendous advice. But the person who sung the good advice, bad advice, was that you?
No, no, that wasn't
Oh,
me.
okay.
Well,
Are
tell
you
us why you think
sure?
it's tell us why you think it's tremendous advice.
I think that it's good advice because she's right. It's like I would want to know. I've had exes in the past that tried not to never argue with me, and it was just like, no, like I want to know what you really think about it. I don't want someone because I want to be challenged. So it's like if we're always having the same opinion on everything, then what what are we doing? Like we're not growing and learning from each other at that point. We're just someone's just up someone's ass, and that's boring.
Okay. Okay, what do you think about it?
Yeah, that part I agree with because if there's no arguments or no discussions, that means somebody is completely like bought into
No.
that other person and is not willing to challenge them in any way, and that could be an issue. Like the understanding your partner part, like I mean, you can understand your partner without arguing with them, so I don't necessarily agree with that point. Better
Which
than being passive aggressive.
arguing to ask.
Hold on, Smooth. Hold on. We gonna let everybody get their take, and then we'll come back
Yes.
for the back and forth. So go ahead, Kay. Finish your
Yeah,
point.
yeah, the passive aggressive piece, like, of course, anything's better than being passive aggressive, but again, it doesn't necessarily require an argument. But then, like to your point, Smooth, number three, where she was talking about everybody's got to have some sort of disagreement because if not, somebody's completely like bought in way too far. And then the vulnerability part, I think that's more of something that a woman would be interested in. I don't think men are much interested in whether or not there's vulnerability in their relationship. So I think that's going to be an issue that is more on the female side of that discussion.
Miles, tell me what you think.
That is bad advice for the reasons that she's given. If you do want to if you do want to have a good reason to argue with a woman, and this is just for me, but the only valid reason is to illustrate that she's not really equipped to argue with me. So, and even that's a bad. If I'm arguing with you just to illustrate that your intelligence begin or my intelligence begins where yours peaks, that's not productive either. Like we're not. We can have discussions without arguing, and what I've found with women who like to argue, and it's not to say that we should never argue, but it's not productive. And the women who actually like to argue or seek to argue, um, I find that they're rarely right, but never uncertain.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's horrible advice. I think that if you're arguing with someone, that is the key indicator that you guys are not looking the same direction. It's such an indicator that you guys are so passionate about being on opposite sides and having different views that it brings you to an angry argument or an intense or passionate argument because you're so passionate about opposites. You shouldn't be with anybody who you're that opposite of. You guys should have disagreements. Yes, everybody should have disagreements. But if what I am I am so passionate about is so different from what you want, we're not made for each other. Like literally, we should be with other people. There's no reason. Also, it's a form of disrespect. If your woman argues with you, it literally means she doesn't have any respect for you. That's what it literally means. I got no respect for him. I got so much. I think that I am just as masculine as he is. So me and him can go back and forth in an argument. I think at the end of the day, you got to find people who are looking in the same direction as you. And it should, if the person is looking in the same direction as you, and you guys agree on the things that matter, then there's no reason to argue, because the things that don't matter, you ain't arguing about. It's kind of like, oh well, all right, sure, go ahead. You like you like fish? Okay, go ahead. I don't like fish, but you ain't trying to get me to eat it, so have at it. Like I don't understand why you are with somebody that you argue with, because that means that you guys are definitely not looking in the same direction. Anybody got any rebuttal to that?
I do. So
Go
I
ahead,
had a
Camilla.
question. Yes. What is your definition of an argument? Because really quick, when I think of an argument, I think like it's like I can go back and forth with somebody, and it's like I can consider that an argument. But some people may consider like, oh, we're yelling and screaming, and it's like, no, my version of an argument is just like, okay, we had a disagreement, we both felt strongly about something, which honestly shows that my partner is able to stand up for something. So it even makes me feel more secure. So it's because it's like I know that I can depend on them if something were to happen, because I know that we can be there for each other and protect each other, because I know that we can still stand here. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
But
just
yeah.
think that's more. I think that's just more of people buying into the whole thing of like, oh, relationships take work. And so people just come into arguments being adversarial with each other. They come into relationships being adversarial with each other because they think, oh, this is normal. This is a normal relationship, and arguing and yelling at each other is normal. An
So that's
argument, an argument is like an escalation of anger, passion, whatever it is. A disagreement is, hey, I don't particularly care for that, but you know, if you like it, it is what it is. Like we disagree, we can agree to disagree, but it never becomes escalated or heated. That's what a
I
disagreement
told
is.
my
Like,
girl, I basically said to her that, you shouldn't argue with me. And it's not because, necessarily that I'm smarter than you or whatever, but I told her I win 100% of the arguments that I'm in. I never lose an argument. And the reason for that is if I'm 99% certain about something, I won't argue it.
mhm.
I won't argue a point that I'm 99.9% sure about. I will
yeah.
only argue with you if I am 100% right beyond a shadow of a doubt. So if you find yourself in an argument with me, that means that you're wrong,
Mm.
because I will
And you
not I
said you
will
won't
not
argue.
I will not engage in an argument with you unless I am 100% right for certain. Even if
Mm.
I'm pretty sure I'm right, I won't argue. So
Yeah,
if you find yourself in an argument with me, that should give you pause.
I just won't argue with you, period. Because if we have to, if you're arguing with me, that means that we um, we are not looking in the same direction. There's something that you are passionate about, and it is the exact opposite of what I'm passionate about. And because of that, we are not looking in the same direction. So if we're
See,
not
but
looking in
every
the same
argument doesn't have
direction,
to involve
you
passion.
got to roll.
So y'all think like an argument is like
Would it?
always just yelling, screaming,
I
and
don't.
like being,
I don't think it has to
yeah,
involve
that's why I asked
passion.
like what do y'all think an argument is?
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
lawyers
Like what's
argue
the
for
definition of
a
an
living.
argument?
I think
Cause yeah,
arguments
definitely
are.
some things should be like when it comes to like basic moral knowledge, some things is like, no, bro, like you need to see how this is right. But
I
other
think
things,
an
you just
arg.
like,
Oh,
okay, well, I get to see my partner, and it's like, okay, now I get to see what they're passionate about. And it's like you said, it doesn't always have to include passion, but then I still kind of agree, because it's like, I agree with Miles too. If I'm arguing with you, it's done. Like, I know that there's no other way of it being, but it's the points up to the official argument where it's like, okay, I'm seeing that they are really passionate about this, to where they feel like it is a back and forth thing. And if we're constantly talking, then it just gives you more insight on your partner. Because everybody's background's different. Even my sister, we've grown up, we same house and everything, but we still get in arguments because it's different perspectives on things.
well. Family, you can't pick, right? You can't pick
Well, even
family.
with your partner, that's a total stranger. You
No,
know,
I don't
there's no
argue with my
way you
partners.
guys are
There's no reason
100%.
to. There's no reason to argue with your partner. That means
I
you
think
guys aren't on
arguing
the same page.
at least like once a year. And it's
Yeah, if you
not
guys,
arguing like y'all throwing stuff, but it's like, no, like, this is something that's getting to me. Oh, well, you didn't communicate that, and da da da, and then all this other stuff comes out.
right, and that means that it matters to you and it doesn't matter to the other person. And in relationships, you should find someone who the things that matter to you matter to them, and the things that don't matter to you don't matter to them. Like
But
people
sometimes
should.
it's the little things. Because
You
I
said
feel
what?
like you're kind of thinking sometimes it's the little things. Like, oh,
Right.
I don't like the
But if
way
you're
you look at
arguing
this.
about little shit,
Yeah.
if you do find yourself arguing about little shit, that is the strongest indication that uh, your relationship ain't long for this world. Because if it's little shit, one or both of you should have recognized it on the third or fourth lap and said, you know what we watching? What you want to eat? Like I'm not burning no more calories on this little shit.
If
If you got sticking points like that, to me that's the strongest indication that we
yeah,
need to be somewhere else.
yeah, if you guys have an escalated disagreement, all right, that's what we're talking about. Escalated disagreements. All right. A disagreement that is not escalated is not an argument. It's a disagreement. Those are different things. Escalated disagreement, you guys don't need to be with each other. For what? You want something that he don't want, he wants something that you don't want. And then you guys need to go find people who want what you want. It's crazy to me. But I mean, that's all I got to say about that. Anybody want to close this up? Want to button this up, or we finish? We move into the next
Yeah,
one.
we could button it up because I could go in circles about it.
You could argue
That's
about it.
why we shouldn't argue. That's
No, and
exactly
I
what
Exactly.
don't see
arguments
that's the
are.
thing. I don't see that as this isn't
Exactly.
arguing to me. It's just like, okay, I'm seeing your perspective as well, but it's just like I'm not trying to convince you. I just like the fact that there's other people with different perspectives that it give me something to talk about. So,
Oh yeah, no,
but
you should definitely,
yeah.
definitely have
So
different
like arguing for
perspectives.
sport.
You could definitely have different
No,
perspectives
that's
for
not
sure,
arguing. I feel like
for
that's
sure.
conversating. That's the beauty of everybody being
Yeah.
so unique and so different.